Recording has now begun.
All right. This meeting is called to order. Uncoded board meeting, November 3rd, 2024. In attendance, Stephen Moore, Peter Stevens, James Bates. Let's take a moment to have a look at the last week's minutes, and if there are any corrections to make them.
Oh, let me get propelled.
We do have an error No, wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, never mind. We have the correct time adjourned last week. Anything else to correct, or good to move on?
Should be good.
All right. Moving on to nonprofit administration, Stephen Moore.
I have no idea what's happening, but I'm getting a error saying that I'm denied access to our bank.
The account?
Yeah, let me see.
Oh, fun.
Let's see if it'll go fine with my phone instead. Find the app. There we go. Farmers and merchants. Ugh. You don't remember my password. Dang it. No, wait. God, go back. Could be password. Come on, man. There we go. So I got the account amounts: $686.52 for savings, $2,152.74 for checking. Nothing has happened. I still need to call them. I did try calling them, but it turns out they don't open until 9 a.m. Or yeah, so I called at like 8:30 and then didn't get around to calling later. But
These lazy bankers
right.
taking federal holidays and everything.
Yep.
But yeah, so no update as of yet. There was a attempt that failed to get in contact with them.
By the way, are you guys getting an echo from my end?
There was a little bit in the beginning, but I haven't heard it since.
Okay.
No, you good. I haven't heard anything like that.
All right. Moving on to Hack Night. So we do have some news to report there.
Yes. Sports.
Sports?
At a sports bar, nonetheless.
Sports.
Dodgers won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I heard screaming about the other night?
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of 3 games, actually.
Yeah. So anybody listening to the video who tried to show up last Tuesday and did not get the memo, we had a last minute ditch to go from Kennedy's to across the street at District 4 Pizza because there was a World Series game going on and we aren't sports fans, so we didn't know about it. And we Yeah, it was way too crowded, way too loud at Kennedy's. District 4 Pizza, there were still people watching the game, but at least there was still extra space for us, and we could hear ourselves when they weren't
Yeah.
screaming. So that was fun. But I'm really glad the officers got the memo. A regular got the memo, but there were still only 4 people. So part of us is, part of what I'm thinking is I'm a little nervous that maybe somebody didn't get the memo, showed up and then didn't even look for it. But we posted to Discord, to Element, to even to Meetup.
Yeah.
So there's only so much we can do.
Yeah, and we also informed Alyssa to send anybody she recognizes over, but that wouldn't have any benefit for newcomers.
Right.
Also, she's moving a lot. It's not like she sees
Yeah.
everybody who comes in the door.
Yeah, not like we pay her either. So
We pay her regularly. We are loyal
I
customers.
guess I pay her in
And I
good
hope
tips.
everybody at Uncoded tips well.
Yeah. Hell, I tip pretty good, and then she ends up giving me like some almost bottomless whiskeys on some occasions.
Nice. So in other news, though, James, do you want to give an account of the conversation you had with one of the managers at District 4?
Yeah, I spoke to Navi, asking him about trivia night. He was into the idea. And said that he needs to confer with his management team, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But things are looking pretty good for us. To start
Okay.
listening trivia night there.
So are we waiting for anything, or is it kind of up to us to say, hey, we want to do this night?
Let's we should follow up. So I'm thinking Tuesday. What I'll do is we'll meet at Kennedy's. We'll see if Ryan is there. And if Ryan's not there, then I'll take a walk down to District 4 Pizza and just inquire again.
Yeah. One thing I'm a little worried about, especially given that Ryan was not very quick at responding, / responded at all, is between the managers, there might be a bit of bystander effect, where if we're like in contact with multiple managers, they all kind of hope that someone else responds. So if we can pin down like one manager that is like gonna give us an answer reliably and will be like the approver of this, then that would be ideal.
Okay. Yeah.
But we should be very proactive, more than we have been in the past, about booking it as soon as we have a time decided.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Also, something to throw out there about Hack Night that was also fun for the night is as we were approaching the end of the night, I noticed our waiter. I forgot his name. I saw him off in the distance talking with Navi, and Navi had a scowl look on his face, and he looked like he was explaining things to him. I'm like, this dude looks like he's getting in trouble with his boss. I'm gonna hand him a business card and sticker. And so I went to my car and grabbed one of each, and then came back. And when we got a chance to run in to talk to him, we told him about our organization, and turned out he is actually enthusiastic about doing something with tech and options trading, which y'all know I love. So I got him, Oscar, and another guy I was introduced to who has a spot hold up at We Labs that what was it? Not John, but Dan Perino connected me with. I still have to respond to that guy, but I think we'll have an interesting thing coming up where we can talk shop, whether online or in person, about options trading with code. We might get a nice little group going that's going to just have that as a primary operation. And to shine a little bit of spotlight on the potential for this sort of thing, right? Like, let's see, my current situation with options trading over the last like 4-ish weeks has been week one. I put money down on a trade to see semiconductors go up. I put like $200, and it jumped up to more than $400. Right. Then a week a week went by. I was holding off. I then put down 200, a little over $200 on the semiconductors going up again, and it looked like things went against me. And with a gap, a significant gap between the two positions, I went and bought a put to go to see it go down more and crash. And for 2 weeks straight, it was very steady, even in that zone of me losing, and wouldn't go extreme up or extreme down to make my money back or anything. And then the Thursday before they both would expire on Friday, it crashed downwards and gave me a little over the 400, little bit of a gain of like $40. So it was a little more than breaking even. It was a nice little save at the end. So it's the thing, like you get the right strategies. There's so many opportunities that things go in your favor. You just need to know when to like, pull the ripcord and take your gains. And so there's lots of potential for that for all of us if we're interested in, letting a little money play for, odds that are better than a casino.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that is something in the works. As you all know, I'm kind of behind a lot of things that are in the works because I don't have much time. But we're still going to keep in contact and keep things hopeful moving forward. Just keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
So hopefully that guy comes through. Be good to have another newbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll add the little notes of everything here.
In other news on Hack Night, attendance. Part of it could be due to the last minute move. Also, we do have lulls, so it happens. Sometimes just all at once, our regulars are somewhere else. So.
Whatever the case is, we should still remain consistent.
So James, did you get Navi's number?
I have his business card in my wallet.
Okay, and that includes his number?
Yes.
Could you add him to the Notion database?
Yep. Let me do that right now on my wallet.
All right. Shall we?
Yeah, so moving on to old business, starting off with print jobs. Currently, I don't think we are in need of any new flyers. Because I have a stack of what looks like at least 50. and James has some too. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about trivia night once we settle a date for the next one. Then I can come up with a new flyer and we can get that printed. Any progress on the 3D printing class, Steve?
No progress. I will say a major thing, two major things that are kind of making it hard for me to progress on anything is one, elections come up and I need to binge through as much research as I can to make sure I'm making the best decisions. And then two, I have the illustrators that I'm working with to try and complete my book, and I got to go through like a proper evaluation of all of them because most of them have finished already.
Yeah, on the local referenda, if you find any good sources, send them my way because I'm also going through that process.
Getting illustrators?
No, the election.
Oh,
the referenda specifically, like
I can say
the Long Beach Community College bond and the California housing one.
In no way is this a reflection on any political positions of uncoded whatsoever.
Uncoded.
This is just my personal opinions of who I endorse. So far, what I figured out is I like I'm a no on 34, a yes on 35, a no on 36. I'm voting socialist this round for Claudia de la Cruz. And let's see. Total abstaining from the senator positions. They're both garbage as far as I can see. So I'm filling in both bubbles to make sure that the ballot doesn't get misread as somebody can just fill it in for me. And then the latest research I did was Renee Rose versus Erica Wiley for Superior Court. Honestly, both of those candidates seem pretty good in general, but I had to give the boost to the. If anything, I'm disappointed whenever they're not going to actually give me their arguments and their actual like philosophies in detail, right? And neither of them really had like that deep of a concept that they put forward. So I didn't detect any real nuance, just good intentions from both of them. So I went with the minority who was a defendant lawyer as opposed to the non-minority prosecutor. I'm gonna just give the slight, advantage to the minority defender, and that's just me. So, yeah. Once again, in no way does that reflect Uncoded in any official way. Just me, myself, and I personal opinions.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm hoping to do some research today. Because it always comes down to like the local ones where I'm like, especially the local offices, like the I don't know, county recorder or whatever. I'm like, no. I don't care.
It's just so hard to actually get the research done, right? And you want to make sure you got a good set of choices. Honestly, this is another thing that I think will benefit once I get the social app, the argumentation social app going. If that took off well enough, just imagine if you have like a number of people that are contributing to these debates and decisions. You just go to the issue, like measure 20 or measure 34. Support, or like a statement gets posted. People should vote for measure 34 in California, whatever. and you got support for it and contentions for it, and then contentions for the contentions, and people pointing out fallacy and what have you. And then you can even have like individual bases. Like I'd love for people to, in some sort of a sense, if you're like in a public capacity, um, like a representative, and thus like your identity is basically kind of forfeit in terms of like issues of privacy regarding your opinions, right? Because you're a public official. Um, it'd be great to have a sort of like way of not exactly blacklisting, but total evaluation given of individuals. Like I personally like to develop a personal blacklist of like these politicians are garbage. These politicians are decent people. These politicians are the freaking best and need to be on top and leading things. And to have enough people that like actually um, like not automate but really pull things together for a complete justification. So it's just like one quick lookup of the person, and then you see what people are saying about them with ease and in simplicity, and you can get your opinion of like based on that information of what you think of them. Then it could be a really quick way to filter, I guess. Just like as you're going through things and like you're coming across people, you have no idea who they are and don't have the time in the world, like all the time in the world to research like every detail of their history. Just see what people are saying about them.
Mm-hmm. Well, can't wait to see it. Let's stop imagining it and start making it.
I want to. Just need time and support.
Yeah.
Resources.
I know that feeling. So, well, I guess let's move on to trivia night now.
All right.
So, we already talked a little bit about it. We have a new candidate venue. I'm hoping District 4 turns out to be worthwhile. We did tell them that we don't charge. We had heard, but we're uncertain, I think, last time we talked about this. If we were uncertain if the Geeks Who Drink one charged, right?
No, we are. I kind of confirmed that talking to Navi.
Oh, okay. So we're certain that they did charge,
Yeah.
and we're offering not to charge. Except that we did request the same, like the prize, like you get 20% off your bill or whatever
Yes.
it was if you win.
That's like the one thing we're gonna kind of hope for is like, could they maybe give us a little prize to give away as a sponsorship for our event
Yeah.
to the winning group.
And I think we should just do that for the top team because we're not likely to get more than 2 or 3 teams anyway, in which case we're basically discounting more than half of the attendees, which is a loss for them. Well, not necessarily a loss. They may get more attendees than they would have got if we weren't there. But
Well, yeah. So I think definitely officially the winning team, but like what was happening with Geeks Who Drink is they had a tie right on the night we went, so they ended up splitting between the two.
Oh, okay.
Or like going for both or something like that. I think that's something that they'll be fine with. If it's like on the event of a tie, could have up to like probably 3 tables, so 3 teams that maybe win. But it's got to be like a legitimate tie.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tiebreaker question.
Yeah.
For that situation, where instead of like the tiebreaker question is usually about a number, so that it's like whoever's closer to the number wins.
Mm.
So it's a little harder to have like repeated ties because it's less likely that both teams will pick the same number.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good way to do it. Let me know if the noise in my background is going to be a problem. I have a cat that looks like he's going to get ornery if I don't play with him a bit.
Okay. Hadn't noticed.
No, you won't notice until I start wiggling it. Little bell toy.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Well then, I say let's get moving on it. If we're gonna plan one now, our candidates are pretty much next Wednesday the 13th, Thursday the 14th, Wednesday the 20th, or Thursday the 21st. We do also have Friday and Monday, but I think Wednesday and Thursday were our top options. Also, last time when we planned it for Wednesday, a number of people had plans that they had to move, and I didn't know if those were recurring plans every Wednesday or if they were just one-off. So it's possible that if we go for Wednesday, we might just hit the same issue. Those particular attendees were willing to move those things, but I also, if I can plan something that doesn't involve anybody moving appointments or events, then I would prefer to do that.
Sounds good. So did we want to maybe take a poll of nights that people are most available for?
We can do that, although I find when it gets posted in the chat, people kind of don't always click it and put their information in. So it's easier if everybody's just at Hack Night and I just ask them, but that only gets results from the people who are at Hack Night, so I don't know. I mean, I guess one thing we would want to do is confirm all of the dates with District 4 before we start putting them out with our group, or we could do it the other way around, just like do a ranked choice. Everybody put these in order of preference.
Ooh, I like that. Or star voting.
You would. I knew you were going to say star voting. I think ranked choice is easier here. This isn't, there's not much at stake. This isn't the President of the United States.
That's fair.
The bleeder of the free world.
I just jumped to star voting because it is mathematically the most effective against fighting against the spoiler effect.
Mm-hmm. The spoiler effect, one of the many things that Uncoded is probably not going to be affected by. So yeah, I could just do a ranked choice, post that in the chat, and instead of doing a when to meet thing,
Okay.
and just kind of see what everybody says, and hopefully at least one of the dates will be available with District 4. I'm gonna do that right now. Stop writing my minutes. It was 20 and 21. So I will put the other dates in there, the Mondays and the Fridays. But I'm going to say not this coming Monday, because that's a little too close, the 11th.
Okay.
Although that is a holiday, isn't it?
I do know Veterans Day, I think it is, coming up soon.
Veterans Day, yeah.
11th, usually.
Yeah. So 18, 20, 21, 22. Monday, November.
I have a thought to propose here. You guys mind if I make a channel in the Discord that is labeled politics, and people can put their own personal opinions of positions as we come up to times like these election cycles?
I am mixed on that. I think it could be good, but one possibility is it's just one person who posts a lot, and then it appears that there's like kind of like if it were quite diverse and there was like a robust conversation, that could be really interesting. And as long as everybody's like civil and understands, hey, this is like your opinion, and I can still tolerate that you have opinions that are different from mine. But one outcome could just be that there's like one or two people who post a lot of the same thing, and then it kind of becomes, I don't know, it might, I don't know how to describe it, but kind of make it appear that there's a heavy slant in the group towards that opinion that doesn't necessarily represent the whole group.
Well, the main thing for legal purposes, as a nonprofit, we're not supposed to be promotional, right?
Yeah.
But if we are just like offering, here's a space where what we're promoting is people openly express their views, and we I would say, if anything, there could be an argument made against us if we forced a little bubble and moderated everybody who disagreed with some certain types of views.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly
then a conversation
wouldn't suggest
then,
heavy moderation, except for advocating violence.
yeah, exactly. And even there's some wiggle room.
A little bit of violence.
Yeah. Well, when you're pro-war,
it's like sexy violence.
What do you call that? It's pro-violence. But yeah. So I'd say, if anything, like I would say if we were heavily moderating and like thought policing, then a case could be made against us that we're violating our role as a non-political entity. But I would also even say there's definitely organizations that do that all the friggin' time and maintain their nonprofit status through some, loopholes or ins and outs that they figure out one way or another, or connections they have.
It comes down to whether people perceive that we're exercising some sort of editorial control.
Right.
And presumably Discord itself has some kind of moderation, even if it's pretty loose. So, like, if that moderation is something, it just kind of aligns with what we would do anyway, then we just make it reporting to Discord, and then Discord enforces it, and then it's no longer, like, uncoded exercising editorial control, and more like, this is the platform's rules, and we're limited by those.
I'm not sure what you mean, like, that Discord does moderation.
I mean, they must do at least some. Like, I'm looking it up.
I think it's more they threaten.
I assume if you post TSAM, there would be a problem, right?
Yeah, I think they threaten to shut down your server if you don't self-moderate. Is how it usually goes.
Identify harmful content. We use a variety of techniques. Image hashing and machine learning powered technologies help us identify known and unknown CSAM. Machine learning models, human-led investigations based on flags from our detection tools or reports, automated moderation, a server-level feature that empowers community moderation through features like keyword and spam filters. In larger communities, we may use automated means to proactively identify harmful content on the platform. If we identify a violation, we determine the appropriate intervention based on the content or conduct, then take action such as removing the content or suspending a user account.
Oh.
I don't see a specific list of the types of things that they also have reports. Okay, community guidelines. Oh, we have to respect each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no harassment, no threatening, no sharing PII without consent, no hate speech, no violence and extremism, no attempts to solicit, share, or make any attempt to distribute content that depicts, promotes, or attempts to normalize child sexual abuse. Interesting wording there. And if you're under 18, no sexual conduct. Do not solicit sexual conduct from anyone under 18. Don't make sexually explicit content available to anyone under 18. Don't create, share, distribute, or create sexually explicit or sexually suggestive content. I mean, this doesn't really relate to politics, but hate speech and promoting violence would. So that basically is kind of what I was suggesting anyway. Okay, so going back to the trivia night dates, I'm just going to suggest the dates from next week because I feel like if I list 8 dates, it's going to be kind of visually overwhelming and people might just be like, oh, I'll do that later. Should we propose next week or should we propose the week after to start?
The week for trivia night.
Yeah, beginning the 11th, 13th, 14th, or 15th.
A week after, because we still got to try to get the thing going with District 4. We got to get some confirmation.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we don't. 1 week to get confirmation, but yeah.
I mean, how long? I mean, yeah. What? We can just send them a text today, and hopefully they get back to us as soon as possible, right? I mean, I'm just putting out dates for people to rank. It's not a commitment to any particular date. So if we hear back from District 4 and they're just like, yeah, not this week, then I just put out a new list of dates, right? I guess what I'm saying is it's easier for me to put out dates that are too early and then add dates that are later than to make people think that it's going to be later and then move it up. I mean, it's not difficult, I just say it, but like if people get the expectation that it's going to be later than it is and then it moves up, they might be, I don't know, less likely to attend. But I don't know, you guys both feel like the week of the 18th is better, it seems.
Yeah, that's just me personally.
Steve, week of the 18th?
The week of the 18th, that should be fine. But remember, I'm not going to be a reliable member for these.
Yeah. But I'm asking, do you think we should
Yes.
poll people on dates from the week of the 18th or poll people on dates from the week of the 11th?
The 18th. I say go for the
Okay.
18th. Now, is the 18th maybe a bit close to Thanksgiving, you think?
No, because it's the week after that. And
Okay.
so I think any traveling, I mean, maybe the 22nd would be bad because if people are traveling for the entire week of Thanksgiving, maybe they leave on that Friday. But I would think that Monday, Wednesday, Thursday before Thanksgiving would be probably clear. But that's also the point of putting this poll out is to get that information from people directly.
Makes sense.
All right, sending it. So let me change the minutes here. Monday, November 18. Did I write this correctly? Yeah, 18, 20, 21. Wednesday, November 20. Thursday, November 21. Friday, November 22. All right. Well, anything else on the trivia night, or shall we move on?
Moving on up.
We can move up.
So on to outreach, recruitment, fundraising. Not much hasn't been said before. Outreach, we're still kind of pending. We need to finally get a hold of Taylor at LBCC. I think that's probably one of the most important single most important persons we could get in contact with. Aside from that, posting flyers. I have my flyer routes. I'm going to share some maps with James today, or whenever I see you, James. Just try to get the pavement as often as possible.
I'm into it. So earlier I might have misheard you because I thought you had asked me to prepare some documents for you.
Yeah, to shred.
Say that again.
Yeah, I have something to shred.
Okay, so we're
And then I
shredding flyers.
Shredding the flyers, yes.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay.
I said so we're shredding stuff and posting flyers.
I will share some flyers with you and give you the maps. I don't have time to share flyers today, but now we are both armed with vehicles, so we can split up the routes more easily.
Yeah.
For example, some regions that I think would be easier for you to hit would be Cal Heights, the airport, and maybe Signal/Zacharia. Or I could do that one actually pretty easily. And then I recently did downtown, so that's not necessary. I could redo 2nd and 4th. And not much else to say on that matter, I think. Or is there anything else you want to?
No, that was it.
Okay. And one thing I guess I would suggest is having tape. For the most part, wherever you go, it's either tape, pins, magnets, or staples. And if it's pins or magnets, they have it. If it's tape, they probably have it, but I have had some occasions where they didn't have tape, and so I just couldn't post anything. And then there was only one occasion where they didn't have staples, and I couldn't post anything. So I would say, at the very least, if you can carry tape, that would mean you don't have to return for any place.
Alrighty then. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Um, well, we're at the end of old business. We don't really have any new business. I totally missed Hackaday. DataCon is coming up on the 16th. That's the weekend after this coming weekend.
Okay. So
So yeah, if there's nothing else to
Wait,
bring up,
are we
then
on open forum? You said, or
what's that?
are we on open forum?
Yeah.
Okay, I got something. So,
Okay.
just to show you what I had in mind here, I made the channel Rant Night. I think that works for us. Go ahead and see
Okay.
what I posted there.
Solely.
Yeah.
Like of the soul.
Is it supposed to be with two L's? Because I was getting that.
No, it's SOLEY.
Okay. Edit SO Ellie. It's still giving me a spelling check error. Wait. Solely? Okay, that's what it's telling me. Solely?
Soul. Yeah, I guess so. That is weird. Solely. Solely. Yeah, it's not solely. It's solely. Yeah, you have it correct.
Alright.
Oh yeah, so Tuesday night is gonna be election night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's gonna be oh man, we're just 2 days away from one of the most consequential elections, definitely in my lifetime. Certainly in a long time in American history.
so yeah, if you guys
Wait.
if you guys are okay with it, I can continue putting polls like this on Rant Night.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is, especially as it relates to local politics, that's also like less of a risk of really passionate opinions.
Yeah. I mean,
If
I'll
it's
put
just
the
like,
candidates
do you
down,
support this bond measure?
right?
But,
I'll put the presidential candidates down, but as well. But I figure why not put them at the bottom because everybody always talks about them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's nothing, like, there's no conversation we're going to have here that's not thoroughly being had in every other forum. So, like, let's stick to the more, like, so I'm not going to say, like, don't post that. Like, that would be a bad idea. I'm just saying, like, I think the more fruitful discussion might be the local stuff. Local meaning Long Beach or California.
And I just thought of an idea. You could have four at least positions that are heavily heated, right? We could go. Who is your like? I would say put two questions down since you can't quite do an alternative voting poll with Discord quite yet. I would put two questions down. One is who is your actual favorite candidate for the presidency, right? And then follow that with who did you actually vote for the presidency? And watch as those are different.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could also just ask, do a poll of, did you did you vote for your favorite candidate, or did you vote for your favorite candidate or someone else?
Yeah, because that's like a big thing that I'm pushing personally against freaks like on the line. They've been really voter shaming hard, and I'm like, I think we're at a point where if you really looked at the statistics of like who people actually would vote for versus who they're voting for because they're afraid of the spoiler effect, like you would not have a Republican or Democrat standing a chance, right? Like not these two nominees anyway. They would have no chance whatsoever. Except that everybody's afraid. It's like, so don't you see that just means you gotta one year just all agree to vote your conscience and we win? There's a guy arguing. Planet Peterson. He has a really good. He has a good metaphor. Like I gotta grant it to him, but he basically says the choices are to drink piss or eat shit, and he's like, both of them are pretty bad, but drinking piss is far less likely to kill you than eating shit. I'm like, okay, cool. Got it. But you realize if somebody caught you on the street and literally gave you those two choices, there's a third option of go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself definitely sums up voting for a third party candidate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I am the most contrarian of all. I'm a reverse both sider, where I believe that both sides are amazing. And I would vote for them both if I could, but I can't.
But yeah, if anything, that's the kind of thing that is totally within our wheelhouse that we're allowed to talk about is not so much the politicians we think people ought to vote for, but the whole issue of strategy and game theory as it would apply to the situation. Nobody's having that conversation, and I think that sucks. Yeah, because it really comes down to platforms, really. Like, they like people on the line keep arguing that it's a trolley problem, but I would argue it's a prisoner's dilemma. Like, we can collectively agree to do something that is to get the best that we could get together if we all collectively agree to do it, or we can all stab each other in the back and take what is like the lesser risk based on the assumption that everybody's going to be uncooperative. But the way in game theory that it's been shown that you can turn people's opinions around from being cynical to being optimistic and working together for the greater good is if you have a platform where somebody comes and explains to enough people in a crowd, hey, if we do all this all together, we can all win together, right? And that's what makes that decision. But that platform in reality is all the news media and all the conversations being had in people's podcasts and stuff. And for some crazy ass reason, even the people that aren't paid to lie through their teeth are all in agreement with saying, no, we gotta all stab each other in the back. There's not enough of a voice out there saying, let's just pick the best option and stop this game.
I guess. I don't know.
And like the best option is just voting your conscience, really, because that's what the whole system, winner take all, does not work if you're not voting your conscience. And so therefore it just doesn't work, as everybody's agreed, we're not going to vote our conscience, we're going to spoil effect. We're going to all collectively try to spoil the vote by not voting who we actually want to be president.
Yeah, I don't know. I mostly agree. Like, I certainly don't have any defense for the first past the post voting. I feel like there can be some nuance to it though, but I certainly wouldn't argue that like the system as it is now really um, works.
Yeah.
But you know, one kind of interesting thing about the U.S. politics that is a little deceptive because of the nomenclature that we use is that essentially our parties are just coalitions, and the caucuses are parties, right? Like the caucuses are more nuanced, although there's not necessarily like single membership. They're not exclusive. Like you can, but yeah, like in a way you have factions under the party, and you would have the same type of fighting. Like this isn't related to first past the post, more related. Well, it kind of is, in that the widely held belief is that first past the post encourages two-party system, and if we didn't have first past the post, then we wouldn't have a two-party system. But it's also possible that we would still have a two-party system, but it would just rearrange who's in what party and how they ally for power. So it may not like because we still don't have coalition government the way that a parliamentary system does. So it would still be likely that like we might encourage a different type of candidate, but we may still very well have a two-party system with just a different set of candidates that make their way to the top of that two-party system.
Yeah, but the whole way that it works in the mathematics is that by the time you get to that point where you've coalesced into two parties having the majority control, it's only out of fear of the other one that people are that they're maintaining that control. So it becomes an argument of which one's the worst, which one's the lesser evil. You're never going to have people arguing which one's the greater good, no matter.
So I guess what I'm saying is I can see how with the first past the post voting system that is encouraged, and given that we're in that state right now, that seems easy to perceive. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that without first past the post, we wouldn't. There's no way to have that.
No. So the spoiler effect, you're right that the spoiler effect never is net zero, right? The spoiler effect is always a reality, no matter what voting system you have. But there's certain voting systems that are better at minimizing the spoiler effect or the potential for the spoiler effect than others. And first past the post is the least reliable at limiting spoiler effect results.
Right. That part I think we can all agree on. I think that that judging the voting systems by game theory only gets you so far, because one of the central tenets of game theory is that we assume that every agent is a rational actor. And our ability to predict things based on game theory is dependent on our ability to determine what a rational actor does, and
Yep. But that's the thing too is we don't game theory has accepted that we don't have rational actors in humans. So that's how they come across studies that have shown that we're generally cynical, and we have given a prisoner's dilemma. We generally will not agree to cooperate at some kind of a risk to ourselves. But if we have somebody who stands up on a podium and says, "Hey, don't you guys realize if we all do this together, it's the best thing we could possibly have? Let's do this." Then suddenly everybody loses all that cynicism and becomes not everybody, but enough become optimistic that you can reach levels of 90% in agreement, or better, greater, that are going to go in and take the risk together to succeed together.
I mean, that's a pretty vague statement, though, about what a candidate, the ability of some candidate to suggest something and gain consensus.
No, it's a matter of platform. It's not just a candidate. It's audience and somebody getting to speak their opinion. If enough, the influence of the audience depends on who has the platform with the widest reaches, right? and or enough platforms with wide enough reach collectively saying the same thing. That's what influences, is what I'm saying.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I guess it's just that what we're able to dispute at any moment and find disagreement on is completely arbitrary in its level of precision and its content, right? So, I feel like no matter what the system is, I think there are some types of disagreement that are healthier than others for a country. Like a lack of mutual toleration in a democracy is unhealthy, and a prevalence of the threat of political violence is unhealthy. But like those things which we dispute, we look at whatever the current issue is and believe that it's the biggest thing in the fucking world. But when the truth is, we don't think about the things that we're obviously completely in agreement on, because our focus will be 100% on the disagreement, right? So I guess I'm just how to sum this up. I guess it's just completely arbitrary what the scope of a platform is, what the precision of a platform is, and how people can find what disagreements people feel that there is room for, right? Like if everybody were on board with some very practical policy, let's say some way of running a rules for a health insurance provider or something, right? And everybody 100% agrees that some rules should be in place, then we can still find more nuanced disagreement, well, maybe we shouldn't word it that way, or maybe the threshold should be here instead of there, right? We can always whatever the issue is, our feeling of how much space there is for disagreement will change based on the nuance of that issue. Right now, we have such hugely different perspectives on let's say immigration, right? That I don't feel that I have room to vote on a very nuanced policy related to immigration, right? If it's not about the two candidates that are one of them is oh, we should, stop illegal immigration this way, and the other one says we should stop illegal immigration that way, and I'm just well, maybe the threshold should be here instead of there. Instead, it's two very different policies, and I'm I don't even have time to argue about whether it should be this little difference or that little difference, because my only choice is between these two hugely different things. My computer's about to die. I'm gonna join on the phone.
Okay.
Test.
We can hear you.
Do you? Don't. Hold on a second. I think it's
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check.
Chat. Anyway.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding the point you're getting at.
I guess I'm not clear on what it is that you're suggesting about how a person can, or a platform can gain such consensus, and how that's so different from what we have, or how it could possibly be so different, because it just seems
it's
no
not
matter
different.
what
It's not different at all.
regime you're under for
Yeah, it's not different at all.
voting.
I'm describing the nature of the beast. It's not different at all. I'm describing the nature of the beast. The nature of the beast is the platform is where decisions are made. Especially if we're trying to get past the idea that people understand that the decision is they have to take a risk in order to work together towards a greater potential reward. And that if not enough people are in agreement with that risk, they lose. So say the idea is you all have $1. You can choose to hold on to that dollar and keep it, or you can put that dollar at risk for the chance at $5. But the only way we get $5 is if more than 90% of us all take that risk together, right? That's the prisoner's dilemma, right? In this context, or that's the variation of a prisoner's
whether
dilemma.
you trust that
right?
everyone else is going to go for the same thing.
So if you outright just like offer that on the spot, most like you're never going to reach 90%, right? That are in agreement with it. People are too cynical. You'll actually get maybe like 20 or 30%. But if you have one person stand in front of the crowd and go, "Look, this is a really great idea. Look, what you really want to just hold on to $1 or give $5," and they don't even have to give like the greatest speech ever. They just have to be on that platform with enough people listening to them and people knowing that they're the ones on the platform. It's kind of like a fame or celebrity effect, right? I know that you are speaking to the populace, therefore your position is the popular position, and therefore I can take this risk. It'll be a much lesser risk because I know more people are going to agree with you, and it is the better thing for all of us in the end. So everybody suddenly gets over 90%, that 90% hump, and you make $1 turned into $5 for each of you. Meanwhile, there's like that 5% or less left over that is just still holding on to their $1 because they're so cynical they never would do that even in that case, right? So it's all going to be a spectrum one way or the other. But the fact is that the power is in being the media itself. They're the ones with the platforms. They're the ones able to spread the message to a mass, and therefore whatever they have to say is what people agree with.
Right, but one flaw with the analogy is that for most political issues, you don't have something of objective value. You have something where people have to interpret whether it's valuable or not. And so it's
Sure.
not so much like everybody gets $5. It's like everybody gets a hug. And like 50% of people don't like hugs, right? And 50% do like hugs. So then you're no longer in this position where it's simple math to just like get people to all agree to something that's clearly better, because in most political issues, it's not necessarily clearly better. Or rather, I would say, this is kind of what I was getting at before, is that whatever we define the issue as will be across that boundary, right? Because for things where we don't have disagreement, like most people wouldn't disagree that cars should have airbags, right? Like I could ask like most Trump voters, most Kamala voters, everyone in the world, like we're all good there, right? And so therefore there is no political issue, right? It doesn't get defined as crossing that boundary. Rather, the only like all political issues are necessarily those which are centered around that political threshold, that boundary, where one half sorts this way and the other half sorts that way, and it's because of a difference of the way they evaluate things, such as whether they like hugs or not.
Yeah, but but your example there of the airbags, right? All it takes is one flat earther brain to go out on Joe Rogan's podcast and say airbags are killing people. Then suddenly you have more people believing that airbags are bad.
And then the issue will be defined as a political issue, right?
Yep.
So that doesn't really change my point. Like if it were a different thing, like should cars have steering wheels, or they just like you just hope it goes the right direction, right? Like people aren't going to disagree about that. If people, and I do know some people who think that airbags kill people and therefore we shouldn't have them.
Yep.
But for the most part, there isn't like a large political discourse about it.
Right.
And so my point is just whatever the issue is, where there's division, that's what defines the scope of the political issue.
Right.
And
Except
the scope of the political issue isn't going to include that which people clearly are in agreement about.
Right.
So
Except
that's, I guess, what I'm saying is like kind of what I'm not understanding about your.
Except this is the thing. If I have a clear political disagreement, right, I don't have a platform. I just have word of mouth with friends, right? And especially because my friends, when having a conversation with me, know that we're not talking on a podcast. We're not spreading to the masses. Even this channel, we don't have enough followers for that to ever even be significant, that somebody hears one of my unique, nuanced opinions, right? And so it never becomes a political issue. No matter how unique and nuanced my ideas are. It is solely, like, and this is the point I'm getting at, which I don't think you're necessarily disagreeing with, it depends upon the voice carrying to audiences, to masses, in order for it to have any significance in the political spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm disagreeing with that.
And that's all I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is fun. This is exactly what Rant Night's always been about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I finally made a channel for it.
Yeah.
So anybody hears that and wants more of it, show up on a Tuesday night and stay late.
Also, on the on the rant night thing, when you vote, does it show who voted, or does it just show the percentage?
Okay, like I think once you put it down, you can show results. So I already put down mine. So show results. Wait, go back to vote. Oh, did I not actually put it? Okay, one moment. There you go. Nay. Vote. There. Okay, yeah, it's showing percentages. It doesn't list me as what, which, vote represents me. So I guess if you want to put down, if you have one that you, like,
I'm just being a contrarian right now. So that people don't see it empty. Put a little velocity into it.
yeah, so I think I only
Show
see the
36.
results.
Oh, you're a nay on 36, right?
Yep.
Then I'm a yay.
There you go. Contrarian.
Yeah, I'm part of the contrarian party.
Wait till you see my abstain votes. Then what'll you do?
I'll just vote yes and no. The ultimate both-sider. All right. Well, I should probably go soon. Is there anything else that we want to talk about?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. James, when's a good time for me to drop by, or I can talk to you after if you want to.
Anytime before. I usually like anytime before 1:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Or
groovy.
after 5:30.
Okay, I think before 1:30 will be fine for me. I am planning to pick up ingredients for aged eggnog, and that'll be right in your neighborhood. So
You going to Trader Joe's?
yeah.
There's a Trader Joe's that's pretty close to where I live too.
All right. Well, I should check that out then.
Yeah, it's on San Antonio and Atlantic, I want to say.
Oh, that's in Cal Heights,
Yeah,
or Bixby Knolls, rather.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so if we are in
Anyway, I'll plan
adjournment,
to drop by your house before 1:30 then. I'll text you.
have we adjourned? Sorry, I think you guys both got canceled out there. What?
This meeting has adjourned. What we're waiting for?
The chair?
Sorry, did my audio cut then?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's let's adjourn. Can you record the time? No, actually I can get it now. Okay, before I couldn't get it.
Okay.
11:23.
There we go.
All right. Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.